Time to get real, reality TV aficionados. Welcome to the Georgio Says podcast. I'm your host, the one and only Georgio Takanakis, and I'm here serving you the juiciest updates on all your favorite reality shows weekly, as well as the hottest pop culture trends, and even exclusive interviews that will leave you wanting more. This podcast will keep you on the edge of your seat. We definitely need to talk about this. The Georgio Says podcast starts now.
Elevate your style and confidence with Taylor. They're on a mission to empower you to be your best self every day without the fuss over what to wear. Dive into curated, high-quality fashion rentals and say goodbye to clothing clutter. Own less, enjoy more, and play a part in fostering sustainable fashion and reducing waste. Unlock a world of style and simplicity. Use my special promo code Georgio Says for an exclusive 25% off your first month. Join Taylor.style today and make every connection count with your revitalized confidence and style. Welcome to another episode of Georgio Says, the podcast. And today I have the lovely pleasure of having Jeff back on the podcast to recap Salt Lake City. He's been busy the last couple weeks and we've missed him, but he's here today. And I think this was a good episode for you to jump back into.
I loved it. I thought there was lots of action and lots of things to discuss.
The Vrumerz. Okay, so we are at the start of the episode. We obviously are leaning into this Angie K rumor, and it seems that Seth is very excited to find out what it is. But Meredith doesn't say what it is. So she just keeps alluding to the fact that she has it as ammunition. But we've seen this with Meredith in the past, where she has access to like some information or a rumor, but she doesn't end. She's never the one that ends up saying it on camera. But somehow the right people find out, and then they say it. And in this case, it seems that everyone knows about it and they're pretending. I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah, like I think, was it Monica or Whitney was like, I think it was Monica was saying like these supposed gentlemen that he's had relations with are running the streets of Salt Lake, talking about this.
Yeah, that was a little telling. I just wonder why. I don't know. I think that part is a little confusing, why of all rumors, that's the one that they're going for. It could be hit or miss.
But like you said, wasn't it Meredith who started the Lisa blowjobs for tickets rumor like a couple years ago, and you said she didn't explicitly say it, but I thought she did. I know Whitney was the one that like took the fall for it and kept repeating it or saying this is what Meredith said, blah, blah, blah. But like this seems like a pattern for her of starting rumors about sexual favors, acts in relation to people's marriages and whatnot. I mean, I guess for Lisa was like there was a clear connection of like she was doing that for a benefit. We don't really know what Angie is benefiting from this aside from just the facade of her seemingly perfect life, which whatever, like no one's pressed over that.
I think what's interesting though is that when they go to the scene with Angie and her husband and her daughter Electra, Angie does talk about how once they had their daughter, it was all about the daughter. And so they were no longer basically like just them together. It was everything was kind of revolving around their daughter, which is, I think, good, but it's also not healthy at the same time, because then what's, I mean, I don't know, to each their own. Maybe they have an arrangement and Meredith secretly knows that it's not a like secret, and maybe it's just like a dig because she knows it's going to be on camera and Angie wouldn't want that necessarily out. I don't believe that. I don't know. I feel weird because it's like when you talk about like the rumor, it's like clearly you're alleging as well that he's gay.
Not necessarily. A man who has sex with a man doesn't necessarily.
Well, they're saying with
multiple,
like he has like boyfriends all over. I mean, so I'm just saying like if that
boyfriends or F buddies, like
well, what I mean, I don't know. Maybe they go for a quick bite before they have a rendezvous. I don't know what they're like. I don't know what they're like. I just can't imagine Angie. Maybe I don't know. I just can't imagine that she's like, yeah, that's fine. Like that's perfectly healthy to do around our daughter when.
Well, I'm sure he's not doing it around the daughter.
No. But I'm saying like that just like that openness. Yeah. When she's so honed in on making sure her daughter is brought up in a way that she feels is respectable. So that's why it's weird. I'm not saying maybe he's bi, maybe he's, I don't know. I mean, either way, it doesn't matter, but it's weird that.
Do you think we have like a Harry Hamlin situation?
Oh, I don't know.
Talk about the husband.
I don't know. I mean, I think it's also, it could be too, and I'm just saying from my past experiences with like being inside of atmospheres where there was predominantly gay men around, but then there was always like the one straight guy, right, that was the hairstylist, and everyone always just wanted so badly to just be like, come on, you're not straight, you can't be straight, like, but they are.
Oh, that they're married. It's a hairstylist and they own salon.
I know tons of straight male hairstylists married to women that work in the hair salons that they met in. Like that's not an uncommon thing.
That's just cliche at this point of like, oh, you're a hairdresser, you must be gay.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I'm just saying I could see that playing into it too. Like, oh, come on, he's a hairdresser. It's like this, that, and the other.
But is he a hairdresser or is he a business owner? I mean, like, is he
now
doing?
Now he is, but I think that they originally started off as like they were just hairstylists, and like that's how they kind of connected. But even, yeah, go ahead.
Two things on this, right? One, I think that. I think the opening scene or the initial scene with Angie talking about, the pivot in the relationship dynamic, I think that was just a strategic edit based on what, further transpired. I think that was just a gimme for the production and editors. Be like, oh, we can set the stage here and like show Angie saying that there's some tectonic plate shifting in her marriage right now. And so then, how convenient then that the rumor that's blown up at the party is about also something to do about suggesting instability in her marriage. So, I don't think we should read too much into the whole, like, oh, look at the story that's being told. Second, I would think that for something this juicy and vicious, I would have expected Jen Shaw to have thrown this out like last season when they were butting heads on everything, and they got into that like really nasty fight at that house. That wasn't that like Angie's friend's house or something. Where was it? Like San Diego or something? Remember when they got into that whole thing as soon as she got there, and like Jen like poured champagne on Angie simply because she was just kind of being a little braggy about how it was her friend's house and da-da-da-da. But then they got into like a really nasty fight. And Jen, I would expect Jen to cut below the belt before any of the other ladies. She'll fight, right? She'll go for the jugular. So I would have expected her to, well, not expected, but I would have thought if that was out there, she would have brought that up, especially with everybody talking so much crap about her and her being so sick of it. Those are kind of my two thoughts. Whitney shot it down too. She was like, no way, absolutely not, absolutely not. And I don't think Monica was suggesting truth to the rumor. I think she was just saying this is out there.
No, I don't think anybody was suggesting it was true, but I do I don't believe that Whitney had not heard the rumor. I don't believe that. I do believe they all have heard that through Jen Shaw, actually. I just think that those things didn't maybe make the edit. There's been a lot of like last season before Jen went away where she was like shitting on everyone, Angie, the entire cast. So it seems like Monica is holding all these like secrets about all the women that Jen has disclosed to her.
Yeah, Jen definitely knew that. Whether it's true or not, she definitely knew there was that rumor. And if she told Monica, she gave Monica a key to the vault pretty much, which she's pretty much proving that she does know all that. She was able to reference like a random phone call with Lisa from what sounds like a couple of years ago when she was working with Jen about her bragging about being or wishing she was on a plane with Snoop or whatever. So yeah, that woman has some bones collected and she's ready to throw them out. But also, back to like Whitney, right? Like I love her to death, the cutie patootie. I love her overall vibe and energy, but she has no poker face when it comes to these types of situations. When she's trying to have a conversation that or her producers told her to have, right? Like even when her and Monica are sitting on that couch, like you could just see like her mouth like cracked, like she was trying like not to smile when she was like, "No, I don't know what I haven't heard it."
Well, also too, she's clearly they built an alliance, her, Lisa, and Angie, and so obviously she's not going to step on that. Even if she did know, she's not going to talk about it because then that looks bad for her being Angie's friend. So she's going to take the defense. I don't think Whitney believes the rumor. I don't think Monica believes the rumor. I don't think Monica. I don't know. See, this gets a little messy because it's about basically, it all boils down to whether or not, well, two things. Do they have an arrangement? And before everyone says it's none of our business, they're on a reality show, and this is the territory in which you step into. These questions, these things come up. We see it on New York right now with Jessel and her marriage, and everyone talking about when is she going to sleep with her man. You guys get very up in arms. I get it. This wouldn't be a normal thing necessarily in a real life like context, but if it was, there wouldn't be cameras recording it and then blasting it to like the world or whatever. So, but Angie knows what she's gotten herself into, and I think that there is I agree. There's a conversation that happens between Whitney and Monica where they discuss the trip in Palm Springs. And I'm glad Whitney kind of came out with it and questioned Monica because she's like, you kind of flopped on your friends and kind of seemed like you buddied up to Meredith. That's a little weird. And it's like, yeah, that was a little weird. And it did come off a little bit like, oh, I see where everyone's like eggs are. I'm going to go make sure I butter this toast, like fuck Angie. And, I'm going to do me, which fine. But she is coming off like it's a little much and a little too fast. Like, I don't know.
I don't know. It's enough much for me. I like the pace. Like she's here to just get it popping. I like it.
No, totally. I just think that she's gonna with that she's gonna put her foot in her mouth quite a bit because that's what happens when you move that fast. And listen, we need Monica. I think Monica is a big reason why the season is doing so much better overall. I think she adds like a touch of reality. Like she's kind of like the reality check. Well, not for all the ladies, just for one of them.
Not Mary.
But she really wants to be Mary's friend. And I think actually they will become friends. It seems like Mary does have a liking for her. She did not care for Heather's necklace. She made that very clear. That was a big miss on Heather's part. Did you see where she was like, why did you wear that necklace? What were you thinking? And Heather's like, I like this necklace. And she's like, big miss today with that.
Oh, I missed that. But I caught her commenting on somebody else's look or outfit from the couch. Funny. She was like, appearing to like mumble it under her breath, but of course production was there and they like captioned it. It was like,
I honestly think they just brought Mary in and just sat her on the couch and was just like, just do whatever you would do normally in a situation like this, so we'll leave you alone.
oh, she said Whitney looked cheap on the couch.
Oh, that's yes.
Which is part of the course. She hates Whitney. So
She absolutely hates Whitney with like a passion.
It's just funny. Like I know that's what they're doing, but I just think it's so I don't like it. So I find it disruptive.
Which part?
Very, like the fact that she's allowed to, or kind of like you said, she's just brought into these events just to sit there on the wall and talk shit about people and say ridiculously
I will say I do like Mary in the friend of role more so than the full-time role. I like it because I feel like we get a splash of Mary and then she's not on there for too long where she will like say something that would be over the line. But
is she a friend of? I didn't even realize that. See, she's on so much and like she's so whatever. I just assume that she's.
Sometimes I feel like with friend of roles lately, it's almost like the best of both worlds because you're pretty much on most of the episodes, like from all over the franchise.
If you're a former housewife, I think it's different. If you're like just a true friend or like you were on, like Marlo, who was a friend for like 7 decades, right? Like her screen time was still pretty limited. She was still in the friend zone, I would say, for the majority of her friend of the show ship until she got up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, but I feel like lately, though, they rely more on the friends to start shit because it's like the women don't want to jump in there necessarily because they're afraid of the edit, the backlash, whatever. But nonetheless, Whitney and Monica have that exchange, and from there, we have Heather, who has her daughters take a sick day from school so they can go skiing. And so there was a lot to unpack from this conversation because I felt like there was 2 different things happening in this scene. And maybe I'm just the only person that felt this way, but it almost felt to me like Heather wanted to make a bigger spectacle of the fact that she speaks out against Mormonism and how that may have impacted her daughters in terms of school experience. But judging based on the way that the daughters were reacting to Heather, yes, there was annoying things that did occur, but it didn't sound like anything where it was like they couldn't get out of the house or, oh, I can't go to school anymore. I can't deal with it another day. It was like, they were just like, yeah, but I mean, it's not like some of the stuff is funny or whatever. And Heather's just like, well, should I just stop talking about it? And I'm like, what? They're not. It's weird.
It's not though, because this episode was pretty much full of shallowly manufactured storylines and scenes, and I think this was just one. I think this was like producers telling her like, "How has it been on your daughters? It must be really hard, with you being in the public spotlight about all this stuff and the community being so insular and judgmental. Like, it would be great to hear how that's affecting your kids." Because I feel like when she started using the word bullying, I feel like that was putting words in her daughter's mouth. Like, of course, we didn't see the whole conversation. We don't know what they're talking about off camera, but.
Well, she's mainly talking about, too, that these girls are on social media and obviously they get comments they get trolled. I'm sure they do. But did her daughter even acknowledge that she was being or felt bullied? Like, I know you can be bullied and not acknowledge it. But. Maybe she mentioned incidents that like where she brought up, she was like, you guys both got shoulder bumped. Listen,
Is that the worst thing?
no, but and I get it. If I was a parent and that was happening, I would be infuriated, but I wouldn't have that conversation with them about it. I'd have that conversation with you, right? Like I'd be like, I would fuck them up. That's not their problem. And frankly, I put them in this position. You know what I mean? Like, what are you talking to them about it for? You should be doing other things to try to make
protective measures were you considering before you launched the book?
There you go.
About this, right? Because that's what I'm saying. It's just seems very forced. That like, oh, like let's talk about how you've been bullied. And like, even at one point in the conversation, like she was like, it's actually not that bad. It's kind of funny. Or like, I brush it off. It's like not that big of a deal. Like everybody's going to talk shit. I mean, it's social media. And maybe that's just kind of like the generational difference between them. Like, you know, Heather's, I think, I mean, she's used to probably just taking all that stuff more seriously because it's, you know, when you didn't grow up with social media your whole life,
it's different.
Yeah.
You know? You deal with it at school, and then when you leave school, you're done, right? You don't have to worry about it continuing. But that's not what was happening here. This is obviously to play off of what I feel is back off of me from last year's Black Eye storyline, because I know that the editors wanted to make sure that they showed when she was talking about, you know, there's a lot of things that happen, and they bring up the scene where she's sitting there with this black eye. And yes, we still don't know how she got it. She refuses to say. We all think we know what happened, so we've let it go. But her daughters are not impacted the way that she was trying to portray it. Like, either they didn't get the memo about the scene they were supposed to have with her, because like they were just like, okay, like I
can I ask a question? Like, is this book so monumental and impactful that it needs to take over her entire life and permeate family and basically everything that she is about? And I just feel like every episode, like her screen time is something related to her book. And like, fine, you got to promote it, and it's a big accomplishment. But we heard about writing it last year, and we did the book launch, or we did the cover launch last year, and then we did the launch this year, and we already heard about how she made the bestseller list. You know, check. Like, let's move.
Nope.
Let's move.
We're gonna drag this anti-Mormon storyline as far as we can take it, because it's enriched in her life and it's easy for her to pull from. She obviously pulled from it to write a book. This is why I'm confused. You knew you were going to say these things on a reality show. That's number one. So you already know you're going to get backlash just for the simple fact of it's not because you're just Mormon. If a Christian came out on a reality show and said anything negative about Christianity, they would get the same treatment from their own communities. This is more about her just creating a narrative, right. And the daughters understand that she's on the show, so whatever, they benefit from it, obviously. They're not impacted. If anything, I would think they're more privileged because of the fact that their mom is on the show. I would argue that more than they don't seem bullied. I didn't get that energy from them. They weren't hiding it because they're afraid to get further bullied. It's like, look where we're sitting, so you can talk shit all you want, but I'm sitting on a national TV show that everyone talks about while you guys hate on us. That's where I wish Heather would have gone with it. This whole like, and they turn their back on you when you were doing your report. That's just drama. It's like, ma'am, look where we're sitting. Like,
yeah.
So,
No.
So from that random clip scene that was unnecessary, the only thing that I was really strong, like I had strong feelings about, was the whole randomly going and grabbing snow from the mountain and dumping it in the hot chocolate. There was something really gross about that, because You didn't find it gross.
No, did you see my
Oh.
face? It was gross.
Oh, yeah, no, I was just like, I mean, maybe sometimes, I mean, she didn't grab it from the ground. She did grab it, but it's even still like, what's it? How do you know what's in the? They're at a ski mountain resort too, so I don't know. Is that snow like? I mean, I guess it is. They're in Utah, but like, is it clean?
Well, it's as clean as the ground that people are skiing on all day and walking around in their boots, and I don't know. I don't.
Well,
If I needed to put snow in my hot chocolate, I would probably find a cleaner source. Like,
I would just. I mean, they were outside. It would take like all of 2 minutes for that hot chocolate to cool down. Nonetheless, from there, we pretty much are landing at. So Lisa Barlow is throwing an après ski event for Vita Tequila, and she goes.
she works very hard for all of her money, by the way.
She does. She does.
Extremely hard.
Well, her interests just are a little bit more expensive. That's all. Listen, but we find out before that, when she goes to meet Meredith for their little facial, that Baby Gorgeous is banned from a tanning salon in Park City because she demanded that they let her tan 20 minutes before they closed. They refused. Things escalated. Then corporate sent her an email revoking her membership. So,
You know what I immediately thought of when she was telling this story?
what?
You.
I
was like,
know what's
this
funny?
absolutely happened to Georgio in 2002. Like, I know I didn't know you in 2002, but I guarantee it happened to you.
It could have. It didn't, thankfully, but it could have. And when she said that, I laughed so hard because I was like, I've been in moments where you're begging and you're trying so hard to get there before they close. It's the night before, whatever it is you're doing. And they're like, sorry, we don't take anybody like after this, even if it's a minute after. But I've always been able to slide in. Clearly wasn't. Hopefully there's more than one tanning salon in Park City. But yes, we get to
First of all, are we still tanning in 2023? Like, we're still going
like spray tan, self tan, like that type.
Yeah.
But yes, people still do tanning beds. Yes, people specifically that do like fitness competitions and such. So yes,
Yeah.
that's why gyms still. I think some gyms still have tanning beds.
Maybe it was just the way that she said it. I don't feel like it was like I went tanning or I couldn't go tanning. I feel like, yeah, I know there's spray tans and like that's the more popular thing. I feel like people usually say like I haven't heard people say they're going tanning in reference to spray tanning.
Mm-hmm.
You're getting a spray tan, right? Or
Usually, yeah, people
you're going to get a spray tan. Tanning.
I mean, maybe
bed. I don't know. It doesn't matter. But
maybe she was going there to get it like in a tanning bed. Maybe she was going on vacation or something. She really wanted to get.
because her membership was revoked. I didn't know that. I mean, I guess you can do spray tanning places have memberships too.
Yeah, just like they treat it like tanning beds now. Like you can get like this, you can spend this much a month and come get your spray tan, whatever. But nonetheless, we have her après ski event, and she invites all the ladies, which is nice because obviously her and Monica are not in the best place because Monica called her a piece of shit last week in Portuguese. So there's that. We know that Monica feels a certain type of way about Lisa Barlow specifically and definitely can't let it go and wants to continue with this whole thing. So I don't know. What did you think about their interaction when Lisa tried to? I think Lisa was trying to like get over it, but it went left again.
Where it broke down for me when she was like, basically like, okay, I'm materialistic and there's nothing wrong with that. Okay, I guess like objectively black and white, like you look up materialistic or materialism in the dictionary, it's not going to say like, it's going to define it as someone that's prioritizes or focus on material tangible items as above other things. It doesn't necessarily say the negative quality, but I think generally speaking, it's used in a negative way. So I don't think so, Lisa, where it's like, okay, fine, I own my materialisticness and that's okay. Like, okay, but not because Monica's saying that's an issue for her, is that you're materialistic, right? Like you could be too compassionate or you could be too long-winded, and like that's not necessarily a negative thing, but that's a negative thing when somebody's presenting it to you as a criticism or a character flaw. And I kind of agree with Monica, I think there's truth to the critique based on her behavior, based on Lisa's behavior. Again, strategic editing as well, because we just heard a lot about how she has a lot of money and she works hard for it and she has expensive taste and yada, yada, yada. But she doesn't.
I don't find her to be condescending with it, though. I'm sorry, like,
Monica.
Oh, no, like Lisa, no, she for sure, I don't think she needed to own that she's materialistic. I think you can tell that she is, and I don't know if materialistic's the right word, but maybe it's that she likes the elevated lifestyle and she likes the nice things. So
maybe showboaty. Maybe it's her showboaty.
Is it showboaty? Or is it more maybe a little braggy at times? I could see that. Well,
it's like times. It's like that saying, right? Like, what is it? The richest people out there, you would never know that they're that rich because they don't talk about their money. They don't talk about
you don't even see it.
Yeah. Or like the whole like new money versus old money. They're clearly new money, and like new money likes to be outward with it and flaunt it because they're new money. They're trying to solidify their spot in like the rich club. And I just think that's what it is. It's like trashy new money.
Yeah, I think the way that like luxury and high like lifestyle aesthetic has shifted, because we see that obviously it's not like she's trying to show that she's this like rich, proper woman that's come from all this money. She's saying, I like having a personal shopper in Italy send me looks for a trip that I can purchase. I like wearing Mugler, like where you see that it's Mugler, and it's like, the point is this is an entire look. It's not meant to be a jeans and t-shirt monogram down like some of the ladies like to do. Whereas I feel like Monica, yes, has some points. She is a bit braggy. Did she need to relay necessarily that the ring she lost was $60,000 more than 3 times? No.
Airport security.
For them, yes, I don't care. Their security, they should know that because this is a serious thing that she's looking for. So that's different. I'm saying to the women on the Sprinter van, yeah, you said it once. Everyone's going to remember that number. $60,000 is going to stand out when you say you lost a ring that cost that much. No one's going to forget that. So yeah, that I understood.
Mary remembered that she didn't think it looked like a $60,000.
Mary probably would know, because Mary has a lot of great jewelry and pieces. So, but I also know that Mary's messy and doesn't really care for Lisa.
Remember like 3 seasons ago where Mary tried to gift some like Louis Vuitton boots to old Jen?
Oh, that was last season. Yeah.
Well, was it? Because didn't she get kicked off? Like,
oh no, you're right. It was season 2.
Like old. I don't remember what. Wasn't she Jenny actually?
Yeah, it's Jenny. But
yeah, she was like, no.
Oh yes, you're right. Season 2.
They were on a girls' trip somewhere, and she gifted it to her as like, also, wasn't it some sort of peace offering too or something?
She said she just didn't want them anymore, and she just had them, and she just decided to give them to her, and they were used, and I guess
she was offended by that.
Jenny didn't know, from a cultural perspective, she said it was rude to give someone a used gift, and so whatever, reaching. But Yeah. Where were we? Oh, right. So yes, I
Lisa's
understand.
materialism.
I understand her being a bit braggy about how much something may cost or, whatever. But I don't find her to be like, for instance, I thought it was unnecessary that Monica needed to call herself out by saying, Zara,
I thought that was hilarious.
And it's
I thought
like,
that was
but who came for you and your look?
no one was coming for her, but she was like, Lisa's point was like, well, then everyone's materialistic. She's like, look, Gucci, Balmain, they're like pointing out all the other ones. And she was like, Zara, like, I think it was just sort of
I know, but it
was a red
like
form.
trying to like really hone in on the reality of reality and like even brought the wait staff that were making the crepes into it. She's like, these people work hard. And it's like, they're just standing there like, don't want to be involved.
I didn't even sign a release. I didn't even know they were filming here. Yeah.
So that was really crazy. But they
I
can't
get what
get
she
over
was
it.
saying, because like Lisa's argument was trying to like normalize that, like, oh, this isn't materialism because look, everybody is like this. Does that mean everybody is just a materialistic, shallow, whatever? And she was like, not everybody. Like Sarah and Steve. I thought it was great.
Sure, but when you look at the other ladies, Lisa's not wrong. That you can't just point her out and be like, there's definitely other people in the group I would say are a little bit more Lisa comes off like to me like she wants to wear the Mugler, but she's gonna go to Wendy's and 7-Eleven and get a big gulp because she wants a fountain soda. The reason why I love Lisa Barlow too, you see how she carries like Doritos with her. Like I love that. She can do the high and low. It's not that. It's weird. There's something else. I think Monica knows something else.
It's such a endearing quality. Like,
I love it. I just feel like you can go high and low and like you don't mind as long as it's good. I don't think Lisa would turn down something like in terms of clothing or a style because it's not label. I just think that her point is like
100% she would.
I don't think so. If she thought it was cute, she would wear it. I think, would she prefer something maybe that was a label? Yeah, but I don't think if she was presented with something, it has to be one of these brands in order for me to wear it. But who knows? I mean, I don't know. I find her to be a little bit more relatable with her wealth, with the way that just how she is. Like, she doesn't seem like she comes off like, oh, I don't get that vibe from her. She's just kind of like, oh, okay, that works for you. Looks good. I love it. Like that's generally how you should be, right? No one should be scaling themselves around what someone else has either. And I feel like Monica kind of is.
Yeah, I think she's dragging it out. Like I was down with like kind of when she originally broached this subject, because I think it was more relevant to like the scenes that we saw previously about her talking about this with her family and stuff. And I think like that was real. And I think like that's a good message that we haven't really seen on any of the franchises before. Like the reality of this, how people are being presented, or like how people are trying to come out versus what's behind that, and others that like aren't even in a position yet to fake it, which is kind of where Monica is, right? Like if she could hit at that level authentically or not, she would. Why not blend? I mean, I feel like she wants to blend in, but she's also realizing that she has kind of more value to add to the show by kind of sticking out and being that kind of sore thumb, that black sheep, whatever. So I think that's where her conflict is. At that point, yeah, I think like, what is this? This is 3 episodes now, right? Because I think she broke down about that. It's 5 episodes since she had the crying with her mom about how she like impulse.
Oh no, yeah, that was
because that was for the Palm Springs trip. Right?
That was the second episode. Yeah, so
I feel like I have to have something nice, like one thing nice to be around these women. Okay, so like right, that was episode 2. What was today? Like 5.
Yeah, so it was 3 episodes ago.
Okay, is that okay? Too long on that. Like that's what
I mean. Like why? But also, It's fine. Like, this isn't Beverly Hills. If she came into Beverly Hills, I would be like, I'd be shitting myself because, like, you can't compete with these ladies in Beverly Hills. But Salt Lake, yes. Do they have money? I guess, whatever. Sure. Or whatever the
Not
lifestyle.
according to all the other ones about them, right? Like,
Clearly not.
somebody is like running debt to run their business. Someone can't buy a house and is only living in rentals. Like,
Well,
that's it.
I do love my Meredith, but she does love herself a rental. I'm just saying. And I get it. There are some people that prefer rentals for the sake of,
I mean,
they don't want to be tied to something. They don't have to maintain it and pay for all that. I get it. I see what like, we've done both. We've rented and owned. So would you say that could be an appealing approach? Maybe not at first, but at some point down the road, maybe if you were like older and we're like, I want to travel, I don't necessarily want to have like something that is like, I don't know, maybe, but they kind of paint it like she doesn't have the money and that's why she rents, but she rents houses that I would assume are very costly in terms of the amount to rent them. So it's not like they don't have the money. So,
I mean, it doesn't seem like she's renting because she needs a sense or she needs temporariness, right? Like, we commonly see for people that age or at that status in their life or like family and stuff, like, yes, they're owning. You don't really see a lot of people renting homes per se. Like,
yeah,
rent houses if they're like, oh, I'm not sure how long I'm going to be in this place, or I'm planning to buy another house soon, or I'm building a house. It's not going to be ready for you. Like, so I'm renting a house right now because I need a place to stay. But like, she's making, she's bringing her whole family wherever they are. Maybe she has a connection in like the real estate industry or whatever, and she's getting all these houses like really cheap. Like, maybe it's a resort area, right? So maybe she has a strategy where she's like bouncing around the houses that are cheaper in like particular times of the off season, right? Because like their on season is winter.
I would also, I mean, I didn't even think about it until you just said that, but I would also argue that possibly it's a good strategy for her because she may even get it like for dirt cheap because it's on the show and it's maybe like working with a specific, I don't know, maybe she knows a broker in town that's
true.
Like, hey, can you showcase our like house on this street in this neighborhood or this neighborhood when you film this season? Yeah. Meredith's like, sure, I don't care. Then I can imagine that that's a benefit. I would totally do that because I mean, then no one has your real home address. No one really has a fixture of where you are. But
and if she runs her business. She runs her business, and Brooks runs his business. And does husband have a business?
I mean, I guess he consult. I mean, he does stuff. I don't.
They're running that whole business out of the house, and it's rental. So like that's a write off too, right? Like that's just all of their offices.
Sounds like a win-win, more than a dig. Like I wouldn't. You know what I mean? Like it's like, yeah, okay. So are we gonna?
And it seems like those houses are all furnished too, which is nice.
That's what I mean. Like what?
Nice bathtubs.
Well, Meredith loves a bathtub. But yeah, so we have the ladies walking out over what seems to be super stupid and petty at this point. But then they calm down, they eat their crepes, but Whitney's got a little itch in her butt because she can't keep going on and on knowing that there's this rumors, about Angie K's marriage. And so she brings Monica to the side and she's like, this has got to stop. We've got to tell Angie what's going on. I can't do this anymore. And so Monica's like,
Monica was like, let's do it.
She's like, okay, yeah, I agree.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think Monica would do the same if someone brought a bomb to her about somebody that's literally like 5 feet away from her. Like,
well, it's also interesting too because it's also like it's Monica's way of showing Angie, like, look, I'm still your friend, right? Because Meredith's out here saying she's got this rumor about your marriage, but I'm sitting here with Whitney to tell you what the actual rumor is because I want you to know. So I thought that was kind of like a nice little olive branch on Monica's part to show Angie, like, I didn't completely shit on you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
So, like that whole fight in Palm Springs when Angie was popping off and Monica was like, stop. You're like way, way out of line. And then Angie, and I think other people were getting on to like, oh, wow, you really turned on her. I thought you were a friend, blah, blah, blah.
I mean, she kind of did turn on.
I don't think so. I think she was reasonably calling her out because Angie, she was a little unhinged at that point, which
see, this
I've
is
lived
why.
with them. I've lived with
I know
for a long time, so I understand the optics of potential unhinged versus just speaking with a normal inside voice, which is, I'm sure, what was happening in her head.
I often thought about that because obviously there's a lot of similarities. Angie is Greek. I'm Greek. There's this look in her eyes constantly that I find very at home and at peace with, that everyone else is absolutely terrified of. I grew up with those looks and those eyes constantly. So I'm like, oh, I understand this. I also understand how it feels when people are being nasty to you, but maybe they're not saying like direct things, but they're still doing something that's just as nasty. And the minute the person bites back, then everyone's focused in on the person that bit back and it's like, hold on, that's too far. And yes, there's balance, and I've had to learn that there's balance. I can't go unhinged on every single person that takes a dig at me. But at the same time, I think that Monica was right when she was sitting with Whitney. There's more to the issue between Meredith and Angie than it just being some like comment that was made.
Well, is this this rumor, or do you think there's like even more and more? Is this rumor the main dish, or is this the appetizer?
God, I hope this is Jesus Christ.
Well, because Meredith was trying to say like she had, encyclopedias of shit on her, which, I mean, frankly, Meredith says that about everybody.
Every rumor Meredith brings up, she says pretty much that. Like, there's just a lot of things.
I know everything. Do you want me to go? Remember, she's like, do you want me to go there with her?
But
I think one rumor, okay, it's a bad rumor, but it's also a pretty outlandish rumor. So it's it's the details of it are not great, but it's also so out there that like I feel like there's still a very high probability that.
Well, first of all, I feel like Angie is not going, even if it is true, she's not going to let that be the way it's exposed. So she will defend it. I 100% agree with her doing so. And I think she should absolutely react. I think, we see that when she finds out what the rumor is, she gets up and she's walking towards Meredith. And then we have a to be continued. And all we got was, Meredith, do you have a second? And that's something I would do and say calmly, do you have a second?
No, you would say, can I talk to you for a minute?
Can I talk to you, bitch? But like, and I love Meredith, but I really don't like this. I don't like this like rumor vault. But maybe this is her thing. Every housewife has their like, what they bring to the mix. Maybe Meredith is the one that, gets the chatter going because she's always got some sort of rumor about someone.
I mean, she already has a bit of a like holier than thou, or at least holier than any of these women kind of vibe. Like, I don't know, the way she speaks and like the head tilt, always just like it's always a like coming with like a higher, like it's always like I feel like the tilting kind of gives me like a looking down at you vibe. So like that, yeah, like giving you.
That's what Whitney was talking about. She was like,
it's where it's just like this frustration. Like I feel like it's like a teacher. It's like we've dealt with this with you over and over again. Like it's like this,
it's like a stern, like private school teacher that is like enough,
like fed up with this just repeated insubordination and just. So that plus the the vault of Vrumerz kind of exacerbates that. Now it's like, it's not just Vrumerz because I want to like, over. There are rumors that at the same time like damage that person, but then kind of seek to uplift her by comparison, right? Like, and I get it. I guess that's one of the themes of this one, I guess more so than the other ones. Well, because I think this one out of all the ones is like the most married currently married at one time, right? Like everybody is always going for everybody's husband, or not necessarily husbands, but like the legitimacy of their relationships, right? With Meredith fucking all of New York and eating Jen out in the bathroom, or is that Lisa?
No, that was Jen and Meredith. That rumor,
Yeah, Jen
which,
and Meredith. Right.
which that's interesting, and I thought about that too. It's like that rumor didn't really make it to TV screen the way this is.
I'm sorry, that I don't see, unless she was like, I mean, she gets pretty plastered too, but
we don't know what Meredith's like when the cameras are not up though, and she's having herself a good time. Because we've seen her and Jen. Remember when her and Jen were good again, and they get like, I remember where they were. They were like, they get a little flirty, and I could see them being at a steakhouse and Jen doing some crazy shit like that. But that wasn't brought up in the context like how Angie. But you're right.
Look at that got swept under the run. That got all into Lisa's hot mic moment, right?
Well, because that was the big splash. They weren't going to go after Meredith after that. It was too easy. Now we have this. So, but I do think at some point it's going to turn on Meredith at some point. I mean, honestly, I love Meredith. She's been on the podcast. I love her. But I do agree. She does not like when she's being called out. She finds any reason. She's like, there's a disabled child. Like, where? It's talking about. Where?
Like, am I back working at Save the Children? Like, what? Like, what?
I don't.
Those aren't even her causes. Like, her causes are LGBTQ and mental health suicide-ish. No, not that.
No, but but the disabled child thing came out of left field because I was like, did I miss a story or something? Did she say that something happened?
That's why I was asking, like, is this one of several things that she has to, like, pieces of dirt that she has on? And did Angie harm a disabled child as well? Like, what?
I don't know, but they better get to the bottom of it because it can't just be this, like, petty, like, we're not speaking and it's erupted into this now, because there's got to be something that caused Meredith to be pissed off. But
isn't she kind of always pissed off?
Meredith? Oh, she's paranoid most of the time, because
like, save for like the times that like her and Brooks are like snuggled up in her bed, like watching a movie and braiding each other's hair. Like, she always seems to be kind of like, I don't know. And maybe she's not pissed off, but she always seems to be extremely irritated.
She's definitely on the verge, for sure. Like, she could go.
So another thing, it's like her neck is about to snap off. She's so irritated. Like, she wants to just snap her own neck out of disgust for everybody that she's forced to be around. Like, but I think Whitney was right. Like, it was last episode, right, when they got big. Like, every time they get into a big fight, and like Meredith walks away, she's like, she always does this. She always turns it back. And an narcissist.
Well, they didn't give us a preview that I saw for next week, so we'll have to stay tuned. But it is a to be continued, so there definitely will be a confrontation between Meredith and Angie, and rightfully so. Because I would be pissed off too, frankly, if that is what was being thrown around. And also too, like, and then, like, you got to think about it from the context of, like, they're in the middle of filming stuff. She doesn't know what else is being said. So that would prompt anybody in the moment to freak out, because it's like, oh my God, is this going to be the whole thing? They're going to pin it all on, like, my husband being gay and sleeping with all these guys. Like, that's foul. but that's what they're doing.
Oh, agree.
So that's exactly what they're doing.
I mean, I guess it's, but okay, so like, okay, so like if that was true and Meredith was like holding on to it, again, like what impact or harm does that have on Meredith? None. But she opened up this season like alluding to her conflict with Angie as if she was harmed by, like, Angie has done stuff to her or broken her trust or, you know, whatever, disrespected her marriage or whatever. But if that's what we're opening up with, like, where's the damage to you in your entity? Like,
Well, Meredith would
somebody is-
argue that she has had damage with that hot mic moment because
but that wasn't Angie's fault.
no, it wasn't Angie's fault, but I'm saying like in terms of just the way the dynamics go on being on one of these shows, Bethany's right. It's kill or be killed. Someone's winning, someone's losing. And I think people forget that sometimes. These shows are not really about, yes, it's about like relationships between women, conflict resolution, but this specific format is about going after people and making it entertainment.
I'm here for that. I'm just saying, get your story straight.
No, totally. I agree. Don't throw stuff out there and mislead people either, because it will have, this is where it gets a little sticky for me, because if that's not true, that's a sticky conversation at home with your husband. Like, if you know what I mean, like, even if it is true, to come home and be like, hey, sweetheart, the ladies are saying you're screwing a lot of guys around town. Everyone's talking about it. So, you know what I mean? Like, where do you, like, that's annoying. And I don't know how comfortable they are. Obviously, they're comfortable enough to be on TV. But, like, does her husband really understand what he's gotten himself into? I don't know. I'm questioning this now because I'm like, I can't imagine, like,
Well, if he didn't,
he knows now, but if, I don't know. She's not, I don't think it's true. I don't think it's true. I just think this is something that is being thrown around and possibly being inflated for the purpose of using it on the show as a weapon. I really think this is watered down much more to, I don't know. Maybe they do have an arrangement and it is what it is, and who cares, right? If she's good with it, if you like it, I love it. I'm not here to like question that, but it's like weird to throw that specific allegation out if there's either it's just blatantly a lie, or it's definitely true and everyone in town knows this and except the TV. Like, I don't know.
So why isn't it framed from a like, oh my God, Angie, we heard something really bad about your husband, or we heard something that like, I mean, like, why didn't they approach it from a like, oh, there's a rumor that our good girlfriend's husband is stepping out on her. Like, why are you coming to her accusationally as if like, how dare you, like, oh, gigs up you, like, we know your husband's out there fucking other guys and you're trying to pretend like why is that the first reaction? Like, if you hear, like, anybody, if you hear that somebody, a good friend, like somebody's relationship with the other partner is not acting appropriately, you don't come to that person and try to beat them down over it. I don't really feel like she's showboating her relationship. She's not running around and be like, mommy, thank you to mommy, like, you know, like, whatever. Like, she's not saying she has the perfect, in fact, she's not. She's saying, like, they're figuring out their new dynamic. Like, she loves them very much, but, like, changing things, it's, like, normal. So it's, like, why are you going to attack her over, like, great, it's a rumor, it's probably not true, but, like, why are we assuming that she's in on it, you know? Like,
well, all things will come out in the wash as they do, but Jeffrey speaks. I will be letting you go. Thank you so much for jumping on today and recapping Salt Lake City.
Well, thank you so much for having me. It's always a pleasure coming to the studio and being on
You're welcome here anytime.
Love it. Toodles. Bye.
All right. Thank you so much to my lovely guest and partner, Jeff, for stopping by today's podcast to recap Salt Lake City with me. As I said, he does get busy, so he won't be able to jump on every single week, but when he is available, he's definitely jumping on. Before I let you guys go, though, I want to give you a few reminders. If you're not following me on TikTok and Instagram, that's where I go first for all Bravo Celebrity news updates, recaps, and such. So follow me at Georgio Says. You can subscribe to my YouTube channel if you're not already subscribed, but just make sure you hit the notification bell so you know when I upload. And if you're watching me on Spotify, hello. And if you're listening to me, thank you so much. If you feel obliged to leave me a 5-star review, that would greatly help this podcast. It's Tuesday and, oh, no, my Lord, it's Wednesday. We have the Real Housewives of Orange County trailer part 1 tonight. Oh, going to be a busy week. I will definitely be talking to you guys on the next episode, though. So have a great rest of your day. Bye.